Firstly, I'd like to update you on the latest daily figures. 3,231,921 tests for coronavirus have now been carried out in the UK, including 140,497 tests carried out yesterday. 254,195 people have tested positive, and that is an increase of 3,287 cases since yesterday. 9,307 people are currently in hospital with coronavirus. That is down 14% from 10,781 this time last week. And sadly, of those tested positive for coronavirus across all settings, 36,393 people have now died. This will require international arrivals to self-isolate for 14 days. That is the incubation period of the virus, so that if people have become infected overseas, we can limit the spread of the virus at home. And as we are taking this action, we are taking it at a time when it will be the most effective. Passengers' arrivals have been down by 99% compared to the previous year. Now we are past the peak of this virus. We must take steps to guard against imported cases, triggering a resurgence of this deadly disease. And as the transmission rate across the United Kingdom falls and the number of travellers arriving in the UK begins to increase, imported cases could begin to pose a larger and increased threat. We will review these temporary public health measures every 3 weeks to ensure they remain the right ones for our roadmap to recovery. And these measures will be introduced from the 8th of June, so that people arriving in the UK will be required to self-isolate for 14 days, except for those on a short list of exemptions. Arrivals will be required to provide contact and address details to help trace them should we need to. And given the amazing public spirit and the level of compliance we have seen so far, we expect the vast majority of people to do the right thing and comply with these new requirements. We know that the vast majority of people will continue to act responsibly to control the spread of this virus and to stop a second wave. But we will not allow a small minority, a reckless minority, to endanger us all. So there will be penalties for those who break these mandatory measures. Border Force will be on the front line of implementing the changes with spot checks as people arrive in the UK. We will conduct spot checks by mid-June to ensure that people are self-isolating. And those from overseas who refuse to comply could be refused entry. Public Health England will set up an assurance service to contact people at random to ensure that they understand the requirements and to also ensure that they are self-isolating. And our outstanding police will continue to do as they've done diligently across the country to engage, explain, and encourage people to follow the rules. We will empower them to use enforcement as a last resort. So anyone breaking their 14-day quarantine could face a penalty of £1,000, and that will be a fixed penalty notice. And ultimately, that could also go into potential prosecution and an unlimited fine for failure to comply with these sanctions. We will keep these penalties under review and will be unafraid to increase them if that is required.